at Nkosi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice, led from within. With me today, I am with Grant Moreo. How are you, Grant?
Thanks, Norm, sir. I am good. I am very good today. Very, very busy week, but really, really pleased to be here actually, and looking forward to today's subject.
Awesome, awesome. So today's subject is scarcity and decision making, balancing choices. Balancing choices in a scarcity situation requires us to prioritize our needs, consider the consequences, seek advice if you can. By taking this step, we can make more informed decisions and find ways to meet our needs and wants without overspending or making the wrong decisions. Um, Brand, would you like to maybe in your own opinion, what do you think about the topic and the things that are included in times of scarcity? Is it just like a relationship or relationship or business or anything you want to explain to our audience what you think?
Thanks, Norm. So, yeah, scarcity. What a great word. Scarcity, scarcity. Where could you begin? Because it's a huge subject. Scarcity, it's often said that people come from a scarcity mindset. And we do this quite a lot in our lives, don't we, in our business? It's often said that poor people will say, how much is that going to cost me? Where wealthy people will say, how much will that make me? So it's a question of a mindset. Do you have a scarcity mindset or a wealth mindset? And of course, it's very easy. That often comes back to your environment that you grew up in, the environment that you currently find yourself in. You can't be talking about yachts and Ferraris if you're struggling to put food on the table. So it's very easy to see where your focus goes. Only yesterday, I had a meeting with some people, and it was interesting to see later where their focus was in the meeting, where their focus wasn't, and how that was showing up in their results. But really, when it comes to decision making, it is affected by your scarcity barometer, as I call it, how scarce you see yourself in terms of finances, in terms of your skills, in terms of your personal values. This will all affect your decision making, and of course, how you balance out your choices in life. What I mean by this is really when we look at our lives, it's good to have a nice, healthy balance of life in terms of relationships, fun, health, spirituality, finances. It's good to have that what I call a 360-degree approach. Yet, of course, when you're coming from a place of scarcity, it's very hard to do that. If you look at your pie chart of your life, if you will, it's normally heavily focused on one area when you're more scarce. The more abundant you can become, the more balanced it will become. And this is a question of how we can make choices. Now, I know it's easy to say that when people are in a really great position, but let's look at it another way. How do those people get themselves in that position? Certainly, some of them inherit a fortune, and it's very easy for them to map out their life and their day perfectly. I'll go to the gym, I'll do this, someone will take the kids to school. I get that. Not everybody has that. I certainly didn't have that, and I guess most of you didn't too. But how can you create that even when that's not your current reality? How can you work on your scarcity to help you make decisions with more balance? That's what today's subject's about. What do you think about that, long term? What do you think? Oh, are you muted?
I actually agree with you when you talk about values and everything. And sometimes when people inherit a fortune, sometimes if you have never had millions of pounds, somebody was telling me one of our friend he inherited money from his parents, is a millionaire. so he so they went to the airport and there was something I think for 800 pounds, and he went, I'll buy that. And they just looked at him just like that, and he was like, yeah, I'll get that. So he's no longer scared of losing the money, but sometimes having lots of money, it can cause fear of losing it again. If you're somebody who is no, if you don't have a financial planner, some money to help you to make a decision with your finances. That's why some people sometimes, there are some people who win the lottery and they keep it. They use it for the right reasons, but some people they win it and then they chuck it all. Uh, some they get scared of being judged by people, and all that comes to values and how we make our decisions as well. There are some people when they make decisions, like mostly because I'm talking about relationship. I was listening to this pastor. He was saying he had his own issues at the time, and now he's into a serious relationship. And he says for him, what he did, he would scare his wife away. He would do something silly to scare his wife. So the wife dumps him.
People are devious. People are
So
devious.
the idea is the wife to dump him so he can put on her. So he says, I will do something really to scare my wife or become really angry to scare her off until my wife realized. And he was like, listen, you're not going to play this game with me. And I thought it was just him. And yesterday I was listening to Matthew Hazy. He is one of the best relationship coach in the world. So he said he used to do the same thing in terms of scarcity. Now he's got the woman that he always wanted to have. And he's like, now he hasn't got confidence to go with it. So what do I do now? Let me just be half silly so she dumps me.
Who did you say that was? Who? Mark?
Matthew has a Matthew.
Matthew, sorry, I was with a different Mark Harvey the other day, who is a property developer, and I was thinking, is it the same? You said Matthew, though, right?
Yes, yeah. So he was saying, so he had to like he would behave so horrible to his wife. Now, I'm not sure if they're married or engaged to be married. I think they're now married. And he said he would behave really bad. And the woman, and I think the woman caught him, and he was like, if you really have issues, why can't you just deal with your issues instead of trying to scare me off? In terms of scarcity.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't sound like it was coming from a place of scarcity to make that comment, but still,
So he said he was so scared. He said he was really, really scared. So it was like, what do you do when you are really scared? When you make a decision, what do you do? Do you write yourself off your destiny, or do you go ahead and make a decision? What do you do? Whether it's business, whether it's a relationship, any part of your life, when it comes to balancing the things in your life, what do you do? Or do you push people away? Or do you use your age and say, you know what, I'm scared to do this, but I'm just gonna use my age and say, you know what, I'm 70 or I'm 50 or I'm 40. I can't do anything because I'm getting old now. But deep down in our heart, we know we desire the happiness, but we don't go for it because we're scared.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and sometimes even the economy as well, like during COVID as well. During COVID, people were so scared, really scared.
It was a worrying time for many people. I had this discussion last night with a colleague, and looking back at that thing called COVID, I don't know about you, but in a funny way, it seems almost like a distant memory. I'm very pleased about that too. I know some people are still getting it. It's no joke, but it's thankfully a lot less than it was. But people's reactions to it and how it affected people, or didn't affect some people. Well, it always affected you, but it affected some people in a negative sense and some people in a positive sense. It brought some marriages closer together because they spent more time together, and that's what they needed. Some marriages hadn't been spending a lot of time together. When they were forced to spend time together, they said, well, this isn't really working out, is it? So, it's a devil in the deep blue sea. It could be a good thing. Certain people loved working with it, loved working at home, and people had laptops on top of boxes first of all in a corner, and then of course good old Amazon came out, and people were buying computer stands and microphones, and so many podcast shows started up during that time. It was for me, it was no big difference because most of my work is online anyway. Yes, the live stuff in the room did stop, obviously, like it did for everybody. But 90% of my work was online anyway. It was only conferences, which many of them switched to online, which I'd been doing anyway. So for me, there was very little difference.
It was no different. So you didn't have an excuse to hide.
No, no. The only skills I spent a lot of time was teaching people with the skills that I had how to take them online during that time. I spent a lot of time with coaches, trainers, hypnotherapists, public speakers, etc., how to take their skills because it's slightly different presentation style online and certain techniques you have to use. So teaching people that, which was thankfully second nature for me because I've been doing it a long time. Face to face and online. So it was second nature. And that's how I managed to reach out to a lot of people in that time and help them. And I was going into people's communities and giving like 15-minute sessions and saying, I don't know where you are in the world, what it is you do, whether you're married, single, you've got pets, children, you're on your own. Are you okay? Are you? Some people are like, this is peachy. I haven't got to go to work. This is absolutely fantastic. I've been praying for this for years. Not the COVID side, but the lockdown part. People were loving it. Some people were feeling very isolated and lonely. I was speaking to people who were saying they wanted to start their own business. How do you use Google? Literally, I was getting questions like, how do you use Google? And some people had huge companies with like, about a third, what was it, 300 staff scattered all over the world who were multimillionaires. And I was just jumping on call. I didn't know who I was jumping in with, just with people just saying, I'm just checking in. I'm Grant. I'm a coach. I'm coming to your colleagues platform. I'm just trying to see, are you okay? And I spent a lot of time. From that, I, by chance, connected with quite a lot of other speakers who had platforms, and they invited me onto their shows. I did an event for 600 insurance advisors in the Philippines. I did that at 2 a.m. or whatever, 3 a.m. in the morning. I was shared a show with a top expert from Google who flies all over the world. We were in the virtual green room. And that all came from me just reaching out to people, just saying, how are you? Can I help? With not selling anything, not doing anything, just trying to help people. That's what I spent most of my time doing in lockdown. And I think that's when we got to know each other more during that time as well, Nomsa, right? Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting when you put it out there. In fact, and that comes back to today's subject, when there wasn't a feeling of scarcity, I didn't feel scarce at that time. I felt abundant. And I said, can I help you to other people? And that had a really positive effect for me. And I hope for the many people that I helped. So, yeah, how can you control your thinking and scarcity to reduce your scarcity and increase your overall growth? Would be a great question. But you did some pretty great stuff during that time yourself, Nomsa, right?
Oh yeah, hello my brother. Just saying hello to my brother. I can see him. He's watching his sister from South Africa. I love you very much.
Nice to see
Your
you.
grand says hello too.
Wish we could see you.
Oh yeah, that's when we started in Gossip Talk shows during lockdown, remember?
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's when you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and got it going. Yeah, I remember one of your very first shows, and one of your hosts was on there and messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm going to be a host. Well, what shall I talk about?" And we was coming up with questions and things. I remember that long before I was on the show. Long before.
Yeah, but it was Legacy Wealthy Talk, not in Gossip Talk shows.
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe I was in the audience for the very first show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you did because you like to get involved. You're very curious.
That's true.
Yeah, you got this curious mindset.
That's true. Do you know when I was a child, my mother's nickname for me was Little Mister Questions?
Really?
Yeah, because I always had questions. Yeah. What about this? And you know what they say? I said, who? Who's they? Is it the government? Who is it says that? I said, I was curious about everything. And I had a very inquiring mind. Not that I'd sit there and study thousands of books. I wasn't that. I was curious with people, and I was always watching people and listening to what they said. What do you mean? I'm trying to understand what people meant to communicate. Funny, look what I do now. No great surprises, right? But I distinctly remember asking questions as a kid, and being called Little Mr. Questions. I feel sorry for my poor parents really because my mother had been sort of doing stuff and looking after the kids in the house all day. My father had been to work, and of course, when you come home, you bombard them with questions, don't you? So, that was it. What about you, Nomsa? Were you like that? I can imagine you was a fairly inquisitive child.
I was worse.
Somehow complete.
Honestly, I when you explain how you are, it's like, yeah, I was the same. I'll just ask the questions. With my parents, they're married, about their marriages, and mostly I spent time with my grandmother telling me stories. I don't know what she was thinking with the 8-year-old telling her stories about her marriage. Yeah, so yeah, it's back to the topic. I think it is very, very important. Like, when you're going through, like, if you have fear, how does the scarcity? Maybe let's use it. What was your question, Grant? Do you want to type your question in the thingy in the chat box?
Who's that?
Your question, the question that you mentioned before.
Oh, about scarcity, things you can do for scarcity. Yeah.
I was gonna say, how does scarcity affect choices and decision making? Um, Sometimes when you feel like your resources are like if you feel that maybe your resources are maybe resources of money, or money is not, your needs are not being met, or maybe you feel like, let's say in a relationship, you're single, you feel like you're running out of time. I don't know, people seems to think they're running out of time anyway. they I think social media was created, honestly. I think the person who had an idea when they created social media, they wanted us like LinkedIn to use it for business so we can build our business. But as we use it to compare our businesses with each other so we can compete with each other, but in a wrong way, and we start judging ourselves, and then we make decision based on this one is their business is better than mine. And then you go on social media, Instagram is also for business and personal, and Facebook, Twitter. People share what they've eaten, the food that they've cooked, and sometimes if you see like your friend, they're putting pictures on Facebook, they're married and you're not married, and you feel that, why am I not married? Why people gonna look at me different? I don't have kids, all these things. And then when you make a decision scared, and then you get out there, and then you put yourself out there for dating, and then you pick anything that comes your way because you feel that you feel that you're running out of time, so anything goes. If Grant comes, is not the right person, it's not going to matter because I want to have children anyway. So I want to have children with Grant. So I'm going to date Grant for the sake of having children and knowing that he's not the right person. So if I'm feeling like, wow, I'm getting old and I need to I need to be in a relationship. So I'm just going to date Grant because Grant is a man. It does not fit, it does not fit my needs and my want or anything that I want. I'm looking for the traits that I'm looking for, but I'm just going to date him anyway so I can take pictures and put it on Facebook and say, look at my husband. So I'm just going to limit my choices. What do you think, Grant?
I think you're being very naughty today. You're planting all these seeds into people's minds.
Yeah, but people are scared. That is being scared, Grant. They are using edge. Yeah, they are actually, people is real. It's reality. I get clients sometimes that they tell me, no, sir, you don't understand. I am like 30 or 40. I'm like, they're like, I'm like, and then I'm not in my 20s, where I can catch anyone that I want. When you go to these dating apps, they want younger girls. I'm not one of those. I'm listening. I'm like, but someone will come your way that fits, that aligns with your values and your beliefs. And they're like, it's got to happen now. I'm getting old if it doesn't happen. But then if you go on YouTube, there's somebody who's 70, you'll find 70-year-old people that took videos getting married, their journey, how they were patient. They didn't care how even people, when they were judging them, but they knew that they were going to find that special person. Even a 90-year-old man or woman, you see them on YouTube as an example. Age, it does not matter. So, Grant, what I'm saying is the truth. In
It is.
terms of scarcity, anything goes. Like, let's say if Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency does not look like any somebody else, I just have to make a decision scared so that my business can be better than somebody else, but not like better of development and proper growth is because of competition. What do you think about that?
What I think is it's interesting that when I was younger, I used to run very fast and people had to run fast to catch me. Now I tend to walk slower in the hope that someone will catch me. No, see that would be an example of a scarcity mindset, right? That would be an example of a scarcity mindset. Um, but think about this seriously. Realistically, what does all this mean? It's about knowing your values, and it's funny. You said when you was a child, your grandmother used to tell you stories about relationships, etc., etc. Isn't it strange you now wind up being a relationship coach? Where did that come from? I wonder. You've got to ask yourself this question. Um,
What are
so
you doing? What are you doing, Grant?
I'm looking at the question. So the question we want to talk about is scarcity. How scarce do you feel right now? Because this is what it all depends on your value systems. If you have an abundant feeling, you feel much more valuable. You have your own self value. So where do you feel you are right now in terms of this? So essentially, if you was to look at yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, one feeling very scarce in your life, you're feeling very threatened, very frightened, very insecure, or 10 to feeling absolutely abundant, that anything's possible. You can achieve whatever you want in life, in career, in relationships, in anything, in health. How scarce are you feeling? 1, very scarce, 10 to abundant. That would be the first question to start asking yourself. Because if you want to improve, and this is what the show's all about helping people improve their situation. But to improve, you must first know where you are right now. And I know some of you don't want to look at that, but that's okay. Because once we know where we are, like being in a car, if you're looking at a map or a sat nav, to reach your destination, you must first know where you are right now, which way you need to point the car. So where are you now? And then a little bit later, we're going to look at where you want to be. And of course, what's in the middle and how we can get there. So first of all, think about it this way. How scarce are you feeling now? 1 is very scarce and 10 is not. And by the way, if you're listening in online, you can put your questions or your comments, you can type them underneath the video, underneath the video, or put your answers if you wish to. How scarce are you feeling right now? 1 very scarce, 10 absolutely abundant. Okay. Or not sure. Or if you have any questions, you can type that in here and NOMSA will look at it and we'll answer those questions as we go along. So what about that, NOMSA? What do you think most people are going to write? What kind of number are they going to write for this?
I think there are some people that are scared. There are times where, like, I normally ask questions when I write something or a post on my Facebook, and people they always write and say either when it comes to relationship, they're scared of entering a relationship because they've been betrayed before, or they feel that they are not enough and they don't value themselves because they've been disappointed before. And when it comes to life, there's like they don't feel that it is worth living for. And there's quite a few actually that actually I think most women they're positive. So I don't know about you, Grant, when you're coaching your clients.
I
What do you find? Do you find more men they're really positive and they want to put themselves out there? Or because for me, when I put my post, it's mostly men that are complaining. Women, they are just like 50-50. Uh, so yeah, it's very, very important to value yourself, like you said, Grant, and look at yourself where you are right now. It's very important. Me, I was helped by this brother of mine. Is watching me. There were times where life was full of scarcity, but he actually dedicated his life to help me to understand that my life is priceless and is more valuable than anything else. So I actually value life. I'm so grateful to God and every person that is around me. I'm so grateful. Even when the universe present me with these times of scarcity, I don't get scared anymore. I used to get scared. I would be like worried, or if the business is not going well, I would be worried about my clothes. If how am I going to afford to buy this, to buy this? But now I just go to the wardrobe and I'll be like, oh well, I've got clothes that I don't need anywhere. So I'm fine. I go to the fridge. I look at the fridge, Grant. When the economy is not going well, I've got food. So I'm good to go. Yeah. And then I see that, yeah. And then I go to the tap water and I'm like, wow, there's water here. So I can drink, I can cook, I can eat. So when it comes to relationship, I look at my spouse. When my spouse goes AWA, I go quiet.
But is this how you judge the economy? This is like you've got the Nomsa scale, and you look at your fridge, and depending how full your fridge is, denotes
Yeah, and
just
then
how well
I
the
go, and
economy.
then I look at the ideas. Now I have to look at the ideas of the business. I have to get creative when everybody else is getting scared. I have to get creative. Like during COVID, everyone else was getting scared. For me, it was like every day. I was so grateful. I'm not just saying, oh, because I'm at Ngozi talk shows. I was so grateful of my life for me being here because every single day you will see, or like sometimes I'll meet people and say, how is this one? And they'll be like, oh, you didn't hear it, gone, COVID. I'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my friends lost their parents as well and they couldn't travel home. So for me, it was a blessing. But when I see when the economy does not it does not work on my favor, I have to have a plan. I can't just sit there and just worry about things or worry about being judged about with people. I just have to find a way to how I can navigate through the situation instead of worrying does not get you anywhere, guys. And mostly 100% you'll find that people, they're not actually worried about the situation. They are worried about people being judged. If you ask a single person now, they come to you, Grant, for coaching. If you go deep and ask them, what scares you the most about you being single, they'll be like, no, I'm sorry, you don't understand. My friends are all married. It's me having to fit in with them. I can't fit in anymore. They are married. I'm like, what is it got to do? It's none of your business. If somebody is married and you're not married, enjoy it. Honestly, do you know how it feels to have a spouse and not having to watch the channels that you want to watch anytime you want? So I'm like, put your feet up, get popcorn and watch it. And also, mostly tell God to bring you that husband, that wife that you desire. Because in times of scarcity, we can make the wrong choices. But for me, in terms of scarcity, is when I look at the situation and I sit back and I evaluate things, I relax. I don't make a harsh decision, the wrong choices. What's the wrong choice anyway?
Good question. What is the wrong choice? things only have the meaning, as we say in the world of NLP. Things have the meaning that you choose to assign to it. Who says something's right or wrong? I could sit there and tell you this is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. Does that make me right? No,
No,
it's just an opinion.
as long
And
as it works for you.
that's right. It's just an opinion. And you know what people say about models? Hey, here's a great model. All models are broken. Some just happen to be useful. That's all. Just look at what's useful for you. And that's the key thing. Because if it's useful and as good people say, use it. Take what you need, leave what you don't, is what I often say. So if you're enjoying your life, you've created success. And that's wonderful. It's not for anyone to dictate you must have this or have that. So should you be feeling scarce? Look at that now. Are you still feeling as scarce? When you realize that you have lots of things already. One of the processes that I take my clients through is the gratitude process, to be grateful every day for what you have. Be grateful. It's a great opportunity. Even when things don't go quite the way we want, we could make ourselves feel better, and quite effectively so, by saying to ourselves, well, what can I learn from this? If I take that on board, perhaps that was a lesson for me to learn, to make me even better, to be even better prepared in the future. And when I am, how are you going to feel? More stressed? You're going to feel more scarce? Or are you going to feel more abundant and more confident? Probably the latter, right? More abundant and more careful. So it's a signpost of how you can live and have a better life. So even when things go a little bit wrong and you get one of those metaphoric slaps around the face from life, what can you take away from that? What can you learn? What can you do differently to actually say, I'm not going to do that again? And next time when you do it differently, you're like, boy, life's easier now. And this is it. Make life easier. As Nopsa said, if you're single and you're happy being single, great. You haven't got to conform to anything. No one says you've got to do it. It doesn't matter. It's not their opinion. Or as someone once said about ourselves, other people's opinion of me, none of my business. That's it. You got that opinion of me? Great. Fine. You can own that. I'm not carrying that baggage around. I'm too busy living my life, enjoying it, because you should. You absolutely should be doing that. And that's the key thing. So with that said, if you're at a level 1 to 10 with optimism, where are you? With scarcity, 1 is scarce, 10 is abundant. If you're low, let me ask you the next question. And the next question is this. So if you're feeling scarce, but you'd like to feel more optimistic, more abundant, what things would make you feel more abundant? What things would make you feel more confident? Because if you've got a problem, fine. So let's know what the opposite to that problem is. Because at least that way you know what you're aiming for. So you may want to write that down. And again, if you're online, just type that in the chat if you got that there. Type that in the comments. What things would make you feel more abundant? What things would make you feel more confident? What do you find, Nomsa? I know you're just going to do it, but I want you to think about when you're dealing with other people out there, when you see them, what things would make them generally feel more confident? But I'll add this caveat. It doesn't matter what other people think. What about you? Yes, you as an individual. What would make you more confident? Once you know what it is, write it down and focus on that. What do you find, Nobson, when you're working, when you're coaching with people in terms of dating? What do most people find? What makes them more confident?
What makes them more confident?
Yeah, more abundant in their
I
thinking.
think in knowing their worthiness, how much they are worthy.
Yeah,
When you value yourself, and you know what you want in life, and you're not willing to actually negotiate or maybe just give away your power to anyone, and whatever you want in life, your desires. And you know, this is the kind of man that I desire. This is the person that I desire. They need to look like this. And this is my want. This is what I desire in life. And knowing your journey with life. It gives you confidence, and it gives you that power when you, and also when you play your own music, uh, playing your own rhythm of life and dancing your own dance, meaning walking your own path and not somebody else. And it gives you more confidence when you go. It's like I'm a matchmaker. Sometimes I get people, they'll come in and they'll tell me, they will describe the material of a person, what they are looking for. And then I'll be like, you do know that when the material is easy to find a wealthy person that has everything, it's really
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
But through that wealth, what are you looking for in that person that is wealthy? Those are the things that I always ask my clients to consider. What are you looking for? What do they have to be, that person, in order, okay, anybody can have money. So, which I used to do that. I used to, because I grew up when my parents used to say, you cannot date a lazy guy, or a guy has to have something. So I'll be like, okay. And then I'll be, when I'm dating guys, I'll ask them, what do they do for living? And this. And when a guy tells me what they think I want to hear, and I'll be hearing that anyway, I'll forget that voice, that what I really want, and then I'll just go for anything. So I think knowing you're worthy and valuing yourself is very, very, very important. And also walking your own path is very, very important, and understanding that what's on the inside of you is greater than what's on the outside. I used to value my looks the most, but now I don't. I value what's on the inside of me. And which is when I'm dating somebody, when I'm dating a guy, I have to check whether their values, do they align with my values? What they want, how they speak. If I take them to my family, will they be able to communicate? I come from a nice family. Will they be able to be family oriented person? Or there's so many things that I look for, but I don't judge people. And those are the things. But I think valuing yourself and knowing that no matter how old you are, you don't have to put a number in your age. If you are somebody who is watching right now and you feel that, you know what, I'm getting old, um, and also when if you want to actually um, to get to where you need to be, don't blame yourself when things go wrong as well, and remind yourself that setbacks are temporal, because setbacks will happen, and mostly when I speak to my clients, I always ask them to, when they meet somebody, or a woman or a guy, the thing you need to listen is, how does this person talk about themselves? Do they value themselves the most, or do they actually full of it? Or maybe they've egos, they love themselves too much, that no one comes before him rather than them. Like Gary says, no one is above him. But there are some people, when you meet them out there, they are full of themselves. So you have to evaluate those things, and mostly value yourself. Know that you're worthy. So those are the things that keeps me going, is knowing my worthiness. Actually, I put that post yesterday. I can read it. I can read it for you, Grant. I don't know if you saw it.
Please, yeah.
Okay. If you have ever felt like you are not enough and it's make you give up on life, here's my story. As beautiful as I may appear, I've been rejected many times. It doesn't bother me when people reject me, or business, personal. It doesn't bother me. And what keeps me going is knowing my worthy and the love of God has for me. It has helped shape me into who I am today. So those are the things that helped me to be the person that I am today. People can say Nomsa, she's this, Nomsa this, Nomsa that, but I will never make a decision based on what people say, on people's whatever they think of me. I always say to myself that whatever you think of me, it does not mean it's the truth. There's only one man who knows the truth. When I'm not on Gossip Talk Show, God knows who I am. When I'm at Gossip Talk Shows, God knows who I am. When I'm outside, God knows. Even when I'm hiding in my room, God knows the real me. So I always say to people, I don't need to worry about what people think or people thinking that I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
Because if I make a decision based on I'm not good enough, then I'll make it the wrong choices. So I need to work on my mind to tell myself that regardless of what people think or regardless of challenges that may come my way, things will get better and everything is temporal. So that's all that's the story I tell myself. I speak to myself, guys. When I'm saying I speak to myself, I have these earphones. I think I have 6 or 7 pairs of this. Yeah. So when I'm going on the road, I've always have my earphones. I'm listening to music. I have wireless ones though. And whenever the negative mind comes in, I speak to Nomsa. I say, Nomsa, listen, you're going to get there where you need to get there. So stay focused, keep going, and know that everything is going to work out just fine. So I don't know in terms of scarcity, what do you guys do? And Grant, you put what steps could you take to
Yeah,
increase your level of optimism?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So what advice can you give people based on based on that question? Let me take my earphones off.
That'd be good. Okay, yeah. The question is that. So once we've understood where you are on a level of scarcity, where you'd like to be on a level of optimism, on a level of abundance, you need to know. So you want to go there, but how do you get there? So what would need to happen to make you feel that abundant, that confident? What would need to happen? Be very clear in your mind. Because don't worry about how you're going to get it. Just know what it is. What would it need to be to get you there? Because feeling of confidence, feeling of abundance is precisely that. It is a feeling. In reality, it has very little to do with tangible things. Sure, if you achieve certain things, it does make you feel more confident. That is a fact. But how come some people are just confident regardless? They're in the same position as you, but they feel confident. They feel optimistic. They feel abundant. Why? How can you tap into what they do? So my question is, all they have is a feeling, a confidence that you don't perhaps have. So what would you need to have happen in your life to make you feel that way too? Because for certain, once you start feeling that way, you start acting that way. When you start acting that way, you start showing up in life that way. When you look like it belongs to you, that's when opportunities start coming your way. And I can't explain it any more simple than that. In relationships, when you are confident, when you just relax, it's very attractive and things come your way. In business, when you're confident about what you do, not necessarily perfectly polished. You can be perfectly polished and nervous as hell. You can be practiced, accomplished, but not perfectly polished, but supremely confident, and opportunities come your way. You see, success isn't always given to people who have the best attributes right now, because anyone can succeed under those circumstances. It's more about how you succeed when things go wrong. Let me explain what I mean. I go to a lot of conferences and coaches. I'm a coach, obviously, and I coach many coaches. But the great thing about any coach is a coach should have a coach. And do I have coaches? Yeah, I have several. So I went to watch one the other day, and it wasn't to watch him present because I know how he presents. He presents very well. I can present, I believe, fairly well. I was watching how they handle little mistakes. That's purely what I went for. What's the nuance? How much humor do they put on a mistake? Do they try to hide it or do they expose it? How relaxed are they? How much do they ad lib? How much do they, just these little things? And there were not very many big mistakes at all. There were no big mistakes. A couple of small little logistical things happen. How do they handle it? So I was more looking at how great people handle things when they go wrong. This is the same as in relationships and business. When things are going swimmingly well, anyone can handle that. That requires very little skill. It's when it goes wrong, when the chips are down, that's when it really sorts it out. That's when you really know who's good. When things go wrong, I say, okay, we're going to do this in a really relaxed environment. That's the greatest people. So think about it. The greatest people don't necessarily have everything in place, but they have a confidence that they'll get there. And they do. They're good enough. They're good enough. So what about you? Without having to be perfect, and please don't ever try to be perfect, because one, perfection's arrogance. In some religions, in some countries, they will not design perfection because they feel it's arrogant that only God can be perfect. Not my words, their words. Okay. So they design imperfection on purpose. Secondly, if you wait to get perfect, it's going to take a long time, a very long time. In fact, you'll probably never get there. I've been trying for a long time, and I can promise you I'm not perfect. So I gave up on that one a long time ago. By the time you try to become perfect, whatever you're trying to do has moved on. It's become out of date, old fashioned. People aren't interested. So by default, it cannot be perfect. It will always be out of date. So better off to work on the assumption that version 1 is better than version none. In other words, just get it good enough and get it out there. Get it out. I'm not saying be sloppy. I'm not saying that. Get it as good as you realistically can and then go ahead and do it with confidence. Easily said? Yeah. How do you do it? By knowing what needs to happen to make you feel confident. And that brings you right back to the questions. What steps could you take to increase your level of optimism, your level of optimism? Because that will drive you to success quicker than anything else. Whether that's going to be in relationships, health, spirituality, whatever your goal is, that's it. So write it down. Get aware of it yourself. Write it down on a post-it note. Put it on your computer screen. Put it on the fridge. What is it that you need to do to increase your level of optimism? And what's your results change? What do you think, Nomsa? Does that work or is that nonsense? What do you think?
It definitely works 100%, Grant. When you are single, relax.
Yeah.
You need to relax, but at the same time celebrate. You know your needs, what you desire in life. You can write it down, or you can hold it in your heart, but let it brings joy, not to bring pain. Like, let's say if I'm single, I'm looking for a man. Let me say, I speak to God with joy and say, connect me with that man of my dreams. You know, that man of my dreams I speak. God is the universe, is it. So you can speak to anything on earth. It happens, but people don't know that things are happening when you actually the way you speak. If you speak negative, you'll be presented with negative. But if you know that you're looking for a relationship and don't undermine, some people they use their body and say, oh, their body is not good enough. They use so many things as an excuse. But if you are single, it's got nothing to do with your body, whether you're size 14 or size 16 or size 10 or size 8, it's got nothing to do with it. A body is something that comes with it. But if you are single, you are single. What are you looking for in a relationship? What kind of a guy, what kind of a woman are you looking for? What if you are looking for a long-term relationship? What do you need to be to actually put yourself out there? You need to be what you're looking for. If you are looking for a serious long-term relationship, you need to be not to be scared of commitment. But if you are scared of commitment, that's when you get somebody to help you, a coach, uh, will help you with that. And also, Grant, what you said the things come your way
Yeah,
when you take scarcity away, things come your way, and it always is the truth, guys. You have to learn how the universe work, and if you don't know how the universe work, my brother actually is on my profile. If you go on Facebook, read some of my comment that my brother Leroy, how he has helped me to actually uh, uh, understand how the universe works, how God works, how to actually say the things that we want and just stick to it. If you want to start a business, surround yourself with people that are in that environment. Surround yourself with people that are going to help you. The environment is the critical component, your foundation of life, who is in that life, the character of those people is the critical component of how you are able to succeed in life and how God is able to help you. If you are somebody who believes in God, if you are somebody who does not believe in God, God will always help you anyway. So, because you are his child, so you just have to believe. And also, Grant, you mentioned that when things go wrong, that's when the real you. That was me, guys. When things go wrong, when we're scared, that's when the real you shows up.
yeah,
But then you have to learn how do you respond in that situation when the real you shows up, when life does not make sense. What do you do? If you go on my Facebook again, there's some pictures that I've taken. I look so beautiful in those pictures, but I took them when life did not make sense. If you look at it, sometimes if I tell you my story, what I was going through, you'll be like, where did you find the strength? I find the strength by having hope, knowing that where there is life, there is hope, and knowing that, and also trusting God. I trust God with all my heart that I have faith that, but you have to implement. So in times of scarcity, when everyone else is getting scared, you have to reflect on things. That's when maybe Bill Gates was born. His company was born in times of scarcity. All these billionaires, guys, some of them, their businesses were born in times of scarcity. Some people that are married, their marriages were born in times of scarcity. So you just have to, I wouldn't say strong, find strength where there is no hope, where there is no strength. Your inner being will give you strength. Just find it is there. It's not hiding, but it's just there within you. Just find that strength and don't worry about everybody else because people worry about people.
that's a great point.
Grant, yeah, do you have any words of encouragements?
Yeah, I do, and it is. I mean, when things tend to challenge you, and the things challenge all of us at times, they really, really do. But when they do, try to remember it's purely transitional. It's not going to last. There'll be
No,
times when you'll laugh again. And I thought of something the other day, or did I find something which reminded me at the time? And I looked up, oh, I remember what I was going through at that time. I was going through this thing, and it really occupied my mind, and I was worried about it. And I'm like, whatever happened about that anyway? And I was thinking, whatever happened about that thing? But I was so worried about it. I looked back, and I thought, I can't remember. But it's certainly not a problem now because I can't even remember it. And then I thought of a couple of other things. Yeah, that big thing happened, but it blew over. It faded into a memory. It went away. Very few things are real big problems. There are occasionally some of them, and they deserve a little bit more thought and attention and replanning. But most things are purely how we choose to think about them. So why don't you choose to think differently? Because if you can learn to choose to think differently, it will dramatically affect your outcome. And you asked me, Nomsa, do I find that men are much more optimistic than women? No, 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 not at all. Not at all. I find a lot of women are very optimistic, actually, very, very optimistic. And guys are maybe not quite so optimistic, actually, a bit more practical. That's a sweeping statement. I mean, obviously there's some guys who are incredibly optimistic. Generally, women are more optimistic, sometimes a little over optimistic, a little bit. But, after a while, they find the balance. The men become a little bit more optimistic and the women will dip a little bit more. They will dip and then become more optimistic again. So they're up and down a little bit more. But the one thing I find with people, once I work with them, help them make realistic goals, which are a little bit of a stretch, but not too much of a stretch, but consistently stretching a little bit. You reach goals very easily, very solidly. The reason is that it actually gives your mind results of achieving consistently. And that's for most people where they find that they gain confidence because they can see they're actually getting results. There's evidence there. Once they start getting an evidence-based result, they start to feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you exude more confidence. When you exude more confidence, people give you more opportunities because you look and appear and behave like the kind of person who can handle those situations. Because guess what? You can, because you're doing it. It's about constantly winning. So that's why it's important to set goals. And this is why I help people set their goals, achievable goals, not pie in the sky, not too easy, somewhere in the middle. Stretch them a little bit, but it shows you how much you can achieve when you really want to do it and you create momentum. And that's what I wanted to say. And again, if we could ever help you with that, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me or Augusta Nomsa on the show, and we can talk about how we can help you more. There's so much we can do here on the show. We give you some great tips. But of course, when it comes to implementing it, that's where people get stuck. They're on their own. They need a bit of hand holding. And that's where coaching comes in to help you, your secret friend, your emergency service to help you plan and get through those tricky times. And remember, some of the most successful people in the world hire coaches. Why? Because they know if they want to get higher, they want to go further, they want to get there faster, they want to get there cheaper and not waste money on making crazy decisions, hire a coach and it's going to get you there faster. And that way, they will help you avoid being in a place of scarcity and help you with your decision-making skills to make balanced choices. Because you all have choice, but some people have a habit of making better choices. That's what a coach will help you to do. That's my words of optimism. So if you're feeling you're in a jam, you're not in a jam. Just reach out and get help, and we're here to help you. Nomsa, how about you?
The choices that we make in life, guys, they will determine where our tomorrow is gonna look like. And if you make choices because you're scared of what people think about you, then that's a wrong choice. Just make a decision based on your journey. You know your journey in life, and to surround yourself with the right people. Which is we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows, guys. You can go to the website. Uh, there's two websites, by the way, guys. One will ask you for a password. Go to the other one. They're all in one domain. The one is www.hseia.com and the one HSEIA coach. So go to the one.com. The other one will ask you for a password. So it means that they're still working on it. So they've locked it up. I don't know why they didn't take it down because they're still working on it. So just you want to connect with Grant, please do connect with him on social media, or you can contact me on the website, through the website, or you can actually book Grant through the website for a consultation. And if you want to book somebody else, the other coaches, please do. And if you're following us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And we have two groups in Unique Billionaire Mindset and in Nkosi Talk Shows. Please do join those groups. Nkosi Talk Shows or Unique Billionaire Mindset become part of the family. We have some things that will be coming up soon. So just be part of it. And what else, Grant? Did I leave anything? And like our pages, guys. And God bless everyone. Live with grace. I will see you tomorrow. So tomorrow there's a chance that I might be on my own. But when I'm on my own, guys, we talk about love and we talk about the rhythm of life, how to dance your own dance and sing your own song, no being worried about what people think about you as a person, and mostly your own journey with finding that special person. And God bless.
Take care. Bye bye.
See you on the